In this episode, a 5-foot woman takes on a 10-foot bear, the largest ever recorded. With just an antique, rusty, worn-out rifle in her hands, she knows the shot has to be perfect. She has to drop the bear with a single bullet, otherwise the situation could prove fatal for her. As she raises her rifle, the bear sniffs the air and turns. Their eyes lock just feet away from each other. This is the incredible story of Bella Twin. Hit like and subscribe. This is Fierce. Bella Twin was a small woman. She stood at just 5 feet tall, but she was incredibly tough. A member of the indigenous North American Cree people, she was used to living off the land. She was an expert trapper and hunter, just like most of her community. Her infamous hunt in 1953 took place near Alberta in west-central Canada. At 63 years old, Bella had years of experience behind her. She knew the anatomy of each and every animal she trapped. To keep her safe in the great outdoors, her father taught her how, and more importantly, where to shoot a bear to kill it with a single shot. She learned this valuable lesson at just 13 years old. This would come in useful 50 years later when she came face to face with the biggest grizzly bear ever recorded. On May 10, 1953, Bella and her partner Dave Auger were walking in the countryside near Alberta. They walked along an oil exploration cut line south of Slave Lake. They were hunting small game. Each of them carried a firearm, but Bella's was a sight to behold. It looked ancient and untrustworthy. It was a .22 caliber single-shot Cooey Ace-1 rifle. The gun's receiver or housing was corroded. The barrel was rusted and was held in place with hockey tape. The woodwork was worn and dull, with cracks and screws missing. If anybody picked that gun up, they would assume it no longer worked. It was an antique. But despite its appearances, Bella knew her rifle well. She knew she could rely on it. It had provided food for her and her family for decades. She never went out without it. But could it save her if she was ever in danger? Was it trustworthy enough to stand up to the likes of a grizzly bear? She was about to find out. The sky was overcast and gray. There was a strong breeze in the air. The leaves and branches rattled in the wind. As the couple were walking through the woods, Bella suddenly heard a noise. It was a snap of a twig, a sound of rustling in the undergrowth. It sounded different from the leaves waving in the breeze. As she turned around, she spotted a grizzly bear just yards from where she and Dave stood. It hadn't heard them or smelt them due to the windy conditions. They had been lucky. Quickly, Bella hissed at Dave to hide, but the bear lifted its snout skywards, sniffing the air. It had now smelt them. It knew people were nearby and stopped foraging. Bella and Dave watched as the bear began to search the area. It lumbered along the same line that they had been walking. Its head gently rocked from side to side, its immense paws leaving indentations in the soft ground. Just 30 feet away, the bear stopped in its tracks. Bella peered through the bushes she and Dave were hiding in. The bear was enormous, the largest she had ever seen. There was a chance the bear would turn away, a chance that it could look the other way and leave the area. But Bella didn't want to take that chance. She knew if it spotted them now, then she would have less than a second to react. She knew that the two of them stood little chance against a beast of that size. So, instead, she raised her rifle. Reports state that she had loaded it with a .22 long cartridge. She steadied her breathing, just as her father had taught her as a young girl. She remembered his words. The perfect place to kill a bear was halfway between the ear and the eye if it stood side on, and directly up the nose or the roof of an open mouth if it stood front on. Any variation from those positions, and the bullet could merely maim the bear. It would likely survive the shot and be enraged. An injured bear is the most dangerous of its kind. Bella's shot would be crucial. As the bear paused, it suddenly spotted the two hiding in the bushes. Caught by surprise, the bear reared up on its hind legs, its immense size and power on display. It then lowered itself back down, its ears pinned back, its head lowered to the ground. Some reports claim that the bear attacked Dave and Bella saved his life by firing the fatal shot. Some say that she shot the bear before it advanced. Either way, Bella pulled the trigger. In an instant, the bear fell to the ground, slumped and silent, just feet from the pair. A single shot had brought a giant crashing down. It lay motionless on the ground. Bella reloaded her rifle and stepped out from behind the bush. She pointed the rifle at the bear once more and fired into its skull. The bear didn't flinch. It didn't move. She reloaded once more and fired again, and then again. She did this a total of 7 times to make sure that the great beast was dead and not just stunned. She knew the dangers of injured animals. The story of Bella's impressive shots spread like wildfire. She became somewhat of a celebrity, a local hero. Soon people were eager to see evidence of the enormous beast. Some hunters who actively hunted grizzly bears, searching for the largest of their kind, spending significant time in the great outdoors, painstakingly tracking them, were rather put out to learn of the tiny woman's skillful shot. But she took no pride in boasting of her kill. It was a matter of necessity. Despite the bear being absolutely massive and incredibly impressive, Bella was not sentimental. She was a far more practical woman and sold the bear skin and her rifle to a museum. A collector also bought the bear's skull. The money would go a long way to provide for her family. Money was far more useful to Bella than a bear's skin and skull. However, before parting ways, Bella had a photograph in front of the enormous bear skin. It hangs on the wall behind her, dwarfing her. She sits in front of it, side on to the camera. She conceals the taped-up gun from view, perhaps embarrassed by the state of her firearm. Records for bear size are measured using their skulls. In this case, the bear's skull was 16.5 inches, or 42 centimeters long, and almost 10 inches, or 25 centimeters wide. As far as records go, these measurements gave the bear skull a total score of 26.5 inches, 67 centimeters. It was the largest hunted bear ever recorded at the time. Bella held the record for just 1 year before a commercial salmon fisherman shot and killed a grizzly in British Columbia in 1954. No one knows how much the grizzly weighed or how Bella and Dave managed to get it back to their village. Some have estimated it to have weighed 1,000 pounds or 450 kilograms and to have stood at 10 feet tall on its hind legs. It was a shame that such an impressive animal met its demise at the hands of a human, but when you're out in the wilds and face to face with one of the most feared land predators, it's often better to be safe than sorry. Bella's story will forever be immortalized in the book As Long as the Rivers Flow, written by her grandson, Larry Loy. He felt her story was being lost over the years and wanted her memory to live on. He wanted her astonishing achievement to be remembered. She was an incredible woman and a top survivalist whose skills have been passed down through the generations of her family.